Simple and plain. To be the best, you have to win. That's why I play the game.
So, over the past 2 years, the Lakers and the front office in Rob Pelinka have really revamped this squad every single year. But I think they really got it right this year in terms of our bench rotation, because you've got cats like Kendrick Nunn, for instance, who's going to play our backup point guard behind Russell Westbrook. And he's a player that can come in and either start for us or come off the bench and really provide playmaking whilst being able to also create his own shot. And don't get me wrong, we had some quality role players last season in Alex Caruso and Wesley Matthews, but none of those players really were able to go out and get their own, essentially just put the ball in the basket. And we saw multiple times throughout the regular season and eventually in the playoffs when LeBron James and Anthony Davis would come off the floor, we went into these scoring slumps where we wouldn't even be able to score the ball for 5-minute stretches, 3-minute stretches, and that's essentially what led the Lakers to losing multiple games in the regular season and eventually losing that series to the Suns. We just weren't able to score the ball in important times during the game. But this season, I believe we're not going to have that problem, because in a player like Kendrick Nunn coming off the bench, he's a quality scorer, and you've seen that in the Miami Heat days just last year, and when he came up against the Lakers in that championship run that Miami Heat went on, he was able to go out there. He has a 3-level score a game. He can score in the mid-range, can hit the 3 at a high rate, and can also play make. And he's also a quality defender. He's present on the defensive end. And I just think we really got a solid one in Kendrick Nunn coming off the bench. Moving on to the shooting guard position, and we have Malik Monk, a young guy that can come in there and shoot lights out. And depending whether or not he has it going, I believe he'll probably finish the majority of our games as well, and may even start for us throughout the regular season. I think the shooting guard position between him and Wayne Ellington and Kent Bazemore is really up for grabs, and it just depends on who's coming into the training camp and really wants that starting position and really wants those large minutes. But I think in a player like Malik Monk, he's young, he's aggressive, he's athletic, and he can really help us out, and we can just throw him in there. He can give it 110%, and he's also a knockdown three-point shooter, shot about 40% from the three-point line, and he's definitely the shooting upgrade off the bench that the Lakers did not have last year. We can also turn to a player like Kent Bazemore, who could come off the bench and play in that shooting guard role or that small forward role, and up there with Russell Westbrook and Trevor Ariza is going to be one of our best wing defenders as well. And between these three players, they're going to be dogs out there on the defensive end for the Lakers and really get in opposing teams' faces and give it 110% every night for the Lakers out there on the floor. Bazemore can also hit the 3 at a high clip. He's shown the ability to knock down 3-point shots. He's an energetic player, he's an athletic player, and he's going to go out there off the bench for the Lakers and take on those defensive matchups. And he's definitely an upgrade from what we had last year. And by all reports, he turned down more money from the Golden State Warriors to come to your Lakers. And I just feel like he really understands his role on the Lakers this season, and he's ready to take full advantage of it. We then have a player like THT, Talen Horton-Tucker, who in my opinion has the ability to be an all-star in this league, and it's his versatility that makes him so special. He can play the point guard, the shooting guard, the small forward, because he has the playmaking ability, and he's a great defender. He just needs to work on that shot, and if he can get that shot right, he's going to be very special in this league. He also has an outstanding wingspan that makes it very easy for him to get to the rim whenever he wants to. And on any given night, Talen Horton-Tucker can go out there and get some buckets for the Lakers, and I think you'll see his role increase this season. He may even start some games for the Lakers this year or come off the bench, but I'm just really excited to see, the development of Talen Horton-Tucker, because I'm telling you, his ceiling is right up there with some of the best young players in the league. And how good he can be is really up to Talen Horton-Tucker. And by all reports, as soon as the season finished, Talen Horton-Tucker was the first one in the gym working on that jump shot and working on his game. So I just can't wait to see him this season. At the power forward or the small forward position, we can also turn to, I can't believe I'm saying this, and I can't believe he's officially a Los Angeles Laker, Carmelo Anthony, who can even start for us, and he probably will start for us for the majority of the time, but I just think we should start Trevor Ariza for defensive purposes and then bring Melo off the bench when LeBron, AD and Russell Westbrook take their rest, so we can just jump in there and score with the best of them in the league. He's a great three-point shooter and really improved his three-point shot, and for the Lakers it's the perfect pickup and a really underrated signing, I believe, this year for the Lakers, because all the pressure is going to be on our big three, and Melo can just come in there off the bench and really dominate with that second unit, you know, dominate in the post, do his patented fadeaway jumper, shoot wide open shots that LeBron and Russell Westbrook's going to give him, and just really be, you know, our sixth man that can just go in there and really light it up for the Lakers. You know, during his time in Portland, there was times there where Carmelo Anthony would go on scoring runs by himself, you know, these 10-point scoring runs in crucial times of the game, and he's someone that the Lakers can just throw the ball to down the stretch and trust that he's going to make the right play. We also have another returning player in Dwight Howard, who played a vital role in the Lakers championship run just 2 seasons ago, and he's going to come off the bench and be that defensive stopper and the defensive anchor for the Lakers, and he's going to be really important when we come up against the likes of Jokic and the Joel Embiids of the world, because he's that big body that we can just throw at those sorts of guys and trust that he can make the right defensive play. And when you look at our roster, we have Westbrook and LeBron James, who are great lob passers, and Dwight's always been that guy that can catch a lob from out of nowhere and slam it down, so I'll be looking out for those sorts of plays. But anytime you get a defensive presence like Dwight Howard on your team, can only be a good thing for the Lakers. And last but not least, we have another backup center in Marc Gasol, who showed some signs of slowing down last season, and in all honesty, this is probably going to be his last season on the Lakers. But what he does bring is experience, great playmaking, high IQ, and he's going to be important when, you know, guys like Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard maybe can't play, or we want to rest those guys, and he can come in, be a floor general from the center position, still knock down the three, and somewhat be a presence out there on the floor. But he's most likely going to be a locker room guy this season. I don't think he'll play too many minutes for the Lakers, at least in the playoffs, but he's a guy that we can still rely on during the regular season to give us good minutes. And there's still 2 or 3 roster spots that the Lakers need to fill, and it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what types of players they go with. In my opinion, we probably could do with another wing defender just to help us out on the defensive end. But again, it's ultimately up to the front office and Rob Pelinka who they want to bring in. And if I was to compare this year's Lakers team to the Lakers lineups in the past 2 years, this team by far has the most firepower, versatility and depth. And it's a team that's going to beat teams in multiple ways, and I just can't wait to see how great we can be. But let me know your thoughts in the comments in terms of how good you think the new Lakers bench rotation will be. And I also posted a video about the Lakers' new starting rotation and who I think should start and end games for us, so go check that out. I'll leave the link in the description. But for now, it's been your boy Jay from Lakers Exclusive. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more videos just like this. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.